Big points dropped by Chelsea in their pursuit of Champions League football. Also, 3 goals conceded by champions-elect Liverpool. A poor day in the office for them. And as quite a few of the Liverpool supporters on the match reaction midweek stated, they are worried about the performances and they want to see more from their side. We want to get your opinions on both games. Spurs currently winning 2-1. I think they're about to score a penalty as well. A bit of a damp squib in all honesty. Southampton get relegated. They move up a position in the league, Spurs, but the attention for them will be turned on again next week. But we're focused more on the champions losing today, and Chelsea Football Club. They need that Champions League football. We've all seen the finances. The top 5 positions should be enough, but that's 7 away games without a victory, and still the run goes on. Since the middle of December, no team currently above them in the form table have they been able to beat. They need that to improve between now and the end of the season. Otherwise, mathematically, they will not be in the Champions League next year. But as ever, I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your opinions on both of these games. As soon as the panel arrives, we're going to get them straight into it, because obviously we know there's a big game coming up very, very soon indeed. Adimatar says, Maresca is so bad. Okay. Let's break this down, though. Let's break the Chelsea performance down, though, based on this comment here. Thank you, Dimitar, by the way. Let me just say this now about Chelsea today. I felt Brentford had the better opportunities and chances in the game. You look at those 3 goal-scoring opportunities, 78th, 9th, 80th, 81st minute. Very good save from Sanchez from Mbomo. Then the header that Vandenberg should be burying. And then Visser puts a header just wide. All of that came very quickly. Now, that doesn't mean it should have been 3-0, because if any one of those 3 goes in, the previous opportunities, well, if Visser's goes in, it's only 1 goal. If Mbomo's goes in, by the time they finish celebrating, the time would have passed. So I wouldn't say that it could have been 3-0 up. That would be a ridiculous notion. I felt that Brentford had some really good opportunities and chances. But again today, Chelsea's biggest issue was their forward line. Brentford created chances against them on the counter-attack. I don't think defensively they were amazing today, Chelsea. I thought in the first half, I thought Caicedo and Enzo didn't have a particularly good game. It was lots of safe possession, but they weren't able to control the ball in the dangerous areas. But when I was looking at this Chelsea side today, Jackson came on and did okay as an example, but I thought Sancho had a very meek game again. Neto, who was on the pitch, I thought was poor. Christopher Nkunku first half, poor. Noni Madueke, some good skills and some good sort of bits of flair, but the lack of penetration. And when you look at one very intriguing stat, 17 key passes in the game. 17 key passes. So essentially what this is, passes from chances created, okay? Of the 17, 7 of them were created by Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, predominantly in the second half. Neto, just 1 chance created. Sancho, just 2. And Nkunku, none. Madueke, none. So the lack of clear-cut, gilt-edged chances from their front line, poor. Cole Palmer, when he came on, created 0 as well. And then the shooting. 20 shots in the game today for Chelsea, just 5 on target. The last time I looked, I think 11 or 12 of them were inside the box as well. I just want to get the breakdown on that correct. 12 attempts from inside the box as well. 8 long-range efforts, 12 from inside the box. Such poor accuracy with the shooting as well, and it's letting Chelsea down. We know the goalie's got to improve. We know the defense has got to get better. But right now, what Chelsea need is some firepower to get them through these games, and it was lacking today in a very, very, very big way. The reason why I bring that up is based on this comment on Maresca. Is Maresca accountable for that? I don't think so personally. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that I still think he should have gone with full strength team. I don't know why you're resting players for the Conference League. You should be winning that with your second team. So that's maybe the only area I would focus on the manager. Palmer should be starting the game. Neto should be starting the game. I'm not too sure why Sancho is starting the game. You need creativity and goals. He hasn't done that for Chelsea now for the best part of 4 months. But blaming it all on Maresca, listen, I think the players have got to take a long, hard look at themselves in the mirror today. Very, very poor in front of goal. I'm fuming right now. If we didn't lose yesterday, we would be 9 points behind. Yeah, and look, I'm going to get onto Liverpool. Well, I'll mention this about Liverpool now, if you want me to. Would Liverpool have been played with more intensity in that first 45 minutes had Arsenal won yesterday? Maybe. So that's you have to look at it from both sides. But I thought Liverpool, and I'm going to look at my notes here because I take notes during games so I don't forget things. Liverpool started very slow, very sluggish today. The mistakes at the back, yes, there was pressure from Fulham, but they're very slow, very sluggish, very, very poor indeed, Liverpool. But they took the lead. A fantastic goal from McAllister, and I thought that would settle Liverpool, but it didn't. Fulham came back fighting. And yes, there was mistakes from Jones and Robertson that led to the equaliser and taking the lead. But Sessegnon has to finish his opportunity. Iwobi's shot looked slightly fortuitous to deflect out of the reach of Kelleher because he's probably going to save that quite comfortably. But I felt in terms of general play, intensity, pressing, quality on the ball, I felt Fulham deserved the lead they had in the game. The third goal from Fulham, the Muniz goal, wow. Physically stronger than VVD. You may have Liverpool fans say it's a push. For me, the precedent's already been set. Those little nudges, they're not giving them. A little nudge, he should have been stronger. Van Dijk. The touch from Muniz was just Bergkamp-esque. And then his finish into the far bottom corner was brilliant. 3-1 lead. A much better second half performance from Liverpool. I thought Diaz coming on, Harvey Elliott really gave Liverpool a bit of an injection. The one worrying thing I would have for Liverpool fans, you're going to win the league. I would be worried about Mo Salah. Another really poor game. Maybe he switched off for the summer. Maybe he's just in some poor form. But he doesn't look like a player who's about to be made the most well-paid player in English football history. I could be wrong. I could be reading this completely. Liverpool fans will be hoping that I'm wrong. But he just looks off the pace massively. But I thought Harvey Elliott and Diaz did well. Diaz obviously getting the goal to put him back into the game. But I thought overall Fulham absolutely deserved it. They really, really did. And I will say, and I'm going to call this out because Fulham won doesn't mean we shouldn't speak about it. How Fulham were denied a penalty today was absolutely beyond me. The PGMOL have said that this was a natural coming together. Kelleher diving at Pereira's feet, diving at his feet to try and win the ball, not making contact with the ball, and then clearing him out, taking his legs away, was considered a natural coming together by the PGMOL. A natural coming together. I've seen a few people online state, well, because the player completed his pass, he didn't actually, he's aiming for Muniz, and Muniz didn't get the ball, but because he completed his pass, it's therefore considered coming together if the goalkeeper then fouls him. I'm yet to see where it states that in the law. A few people have mentioned this impeding law and they're trying to... hang on. I get when they shoot and then a goalie touches you or a defender, they often don't give it. But a square pass, I don't know anywhere else on the pitch or in the box where somebody makes a pass and then a goalkeeper or a defender who's making a tackle or a challenge misses the ball and then clatters into you. I've never seen that being called a coming together. Muniz and Van Dijk, for me, is a natural coming together. The ball's in the middle. They're both coming in. The ball's kind of overhit, and then they clash. I don't think that part was a penalty. I am just flabbergasted that this wasn't reviewed and or given. And the fact they've called it a natural coming together, when Pereira, when you watch it, barely moves from his standing position when he passes the ball. I just now hope that at any other time, Onana rushes out and goes for the ball. If he misses it, as long as the player has undertaken a shot, undertaken a header, or undertaken a pass, I hope they just call it a natural coming together. I really do, because my goalie does this quite a bit, and I've always called them penalties, so I'm keeping the energy the same. So I am glad Fulham won, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about what I think is another horrendous on-field decision and a calamity from the PGMOL. But because Fulham won, they might just ignore it. They may also come out now and go, look, I think we can probably get away with doing a little apology here, make ourselves look like we care, because Fulham won, Liverpool are champions, no one's really going to kick off, and then we can brush it all back under the carpet. They'll go one of two ways with this, but yeah, very, very poor decision in Deed. Let's go to some of your comments here. Damn, we were poor. Worried it will become a habit. Look, we had Mike and we had Sam as Liverpool fans on the show the other night, and they were getting pelters from Liverpool supporters because they were talking about how bad they were and they're worried about it going into next season. I understand their concerns. I'm not in that mindset for Liverpool, but I'm not a Liverpool supporter. I'm looking at Liverpool right now. I feel like they're a little bit on the beach. This is why I always say I don't really look at the points total of a team and necessarily go, oh, look, they got 85 points. That means they're better than every other team that's won the league who got under 85 points. Because what you are removing the game state of the season. When did they win the league? Were they being challenged? When did they decide to sit on the beach? You're removing so much context. Are they in other competitions and rotating? There's so many different permutations. That's why points totals are a barometer you can use, but have never been my ultimate barometer. I don't necessarily think that Liverpool are going to take this form into next season. That's not my view as a United fan. Nketiah versus City, exact same, clattered after the shot. After the shot is rarely given. Look, I don't know any Liverpool fan worth their salt who's really going to say that shouldn't have been a penalty. Because if it happens to any of us, we're all going to say penalty. You've got to remember as well, you didn't even win today, Liverpool. So it's not even like we're trying to you can say, oh, you're trying to discredit a win. No, it's just a bad mistake by the PGMOL. Arsenal drew versus Everton, but all you did was talk about the ref. This isn't true, DJ. The opening segments were about the performance. I spoke about the lack of intensity from Arsenal, the poor finishing, how bad the game was. In fact, the opening line for me was shocker. What a shocking game, DJ. Even when it came to the penalty, I didn't think it was a foul, but I spoke about the poor defending of Lewis Skelly. We had multiple conversations with the panel about did they want to see more intensity or were they happy with the fact that Arsenal seemed to play in second gear ahead of Tuesday, as an example. Of course, the conversation about the penalty came up because it was a massive trending topic yesterday. So, DJ, I love you. You super chat a lot, but you've literally lied. That wasn't all we spoke about. It wasn't what we started the show talking about as well. So what you are saying, DJ, is not the truth. We played well second half. Brentford away ain't easy at all. Now, DJ, I did think you were much better in the second half. What let you down again is your front line. All of your attackers, again, poor creativity levels and poor finishing and shooting. What I would be concerned about, DJ, is what I've said about Chelsea now for a long time. If you look, since you went second in the league, I think second or third at the end of that great winning run of form in mid-December, since that point, you have only beaten teams are below you in the form guide. Brentford, another team ahead of you in the form guide, and you weren't able to win. If that continues in the next 7 games, because you're playing a number of the sides, one ahead of you in the form table and fighting out for top 4 positions, there's a massive chance you miss out on Champions League football. Chelsea's level of performance, goal conversion, converting the XG, if you want to use that modern day term, has got to improve massively, DJ. Massive improvements needed from Chelsea. Posty said, I don't mind the loss. One more loss and we can win the league against Arsenal. Maybe that's the plan. You never know. You never know. That would add a bit of insult to injury, wouldn't it? Bringing it up because last time it happened. I understand where you're coming from, Carl. The bad form at the end of that season carried over. I hear you. And that's why I think it's a fair conversation for Liverpool fans to have. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Also, VVD elbowed Anderson and should have seen red. I've only seen one replay of that, because in half-time I had to go out and do something very, very quickly with my dog. But I did see a swing and there was no contact. But listen, I will say about Van Dijk. Van Dijk's just, he's charmed. He's like the England captains. England captains, typically in Premier League history, have always got the rub of the green with referees. It's like he's got that England captain charm. The amount of things he's done this season that I think certain other players would be sent off for is crazy. But having said that, he was probably in a bad mood today because Manish bullied him. So there we go. Husam and Andrew Barnes are coming on the show with me now. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. Husam, obviously not a good result for Liverpool today. What was your thoughts on the performance? And do you echo the concerns of the likes of Mike and Sam in the last game and many Liverpool fans watching that they're worried about this hangover going into next season?
I think today's performance was unprofessional and complacent. That's what I described today's performance as. Like, we walked into the game like, oh, we're supposed to win. And that's just not how it goes. Today, games like this is where I develop new respect for Pep Guardiola, because the way that they play is, even when everyone thinks and knows that Manchester City are winning the league and they're running away with it, they keep going until it's mathematically done, until it's over. And I think that the way that we played in the first half was absolute dog shit. The back five, individual errors. First of all, I have to say credit to Muniz, because he literally bullied Van Dijk all game long. Absolutely bullied him. Konate and Curtis Jones make an error. Konate doesn't even win a simple header for the first goal, and Curtis doesn't clear it properly. The second goal, Robertson gives the ball to Iwobi, runs all the way back to the penalty box, heads it back to Iwobi again, and then Fulham score the second. And third goal, Muniz just absolutely bullies Virgil van Dijk, completely bullies him. And, I thought Gravenberg was really bad in midfield. He couldn't pass to save his life today. The forward line wasn't all necessarily good. And you see the difference, like, when Connor Bradley comes on, like, it just injects a new life into the team, just having a natural right back there, underlapping and overlapping with Salah, just giving him that ability to have someone running past him so you can play balls, you can create. And we were so much better in the second half, but it's the fact that we were just so shit in the first half. We just gave ourselves way too much of a big mountain and hill to climb. And it's just this complacency. Like, we turned up to Craven Cottage. They're like, oh, we're supposed to win. Like, we're just gonna, we're just gonna walk out on the pitch and we're gonna win the game just because, we've won the league already. Like, it doesn't matter what Arsenal do. You have to put the league in the bag and keep going. Like, I'm not worried in terms of like losing the league or anything, because it's still an 11-point lead. It's still 4 games difference. And to be fair, all we need is 4 more wins, which is obviously very doable. And the way Arsenal are going, they're dropping points as well. But that's not my concern. My concern is just the complacency. That first half we played like we've won it already. We haven't won it already. Like, we can't be on the beach. We can be on the beach after we lift it.
See, I get you. I get where you're coming from, and it's your team, and you've got that nervousness. But I feel like you have won it already, and that's why these performance levels are there. But I get it from your perspective, because you just want.
Oh, I'm not talking about it from a nervousness perspective. I agree that we will win the league. I agree with that. All I'm saying is we can't act, the players on the pitch can't act like it's done already until it's lifted. You get what I'm saying?
No,
as a football player, you need to go out on the pitch and perform well. Van Dijk today, you're the Liverpool captain. You're getting bullied by fucking Muniz. Who the hell is Muniz, bro? He completely bullied him today. Completely bullied Virgil van Dijk today.
He did. I did want to ask your opinion. It obviously didn't impact the game in the end, but the penalty decisions created a lot of debate. Kelleher obviously goes towards Pereira to win the ball, to block the ball, misses the ball, takes out the player. What did you make of that, Husam? Do you think that Fulham were hard done by with that decision?
I don't know. That one's a 50-50. I think it could be a penalty, and some might say it's a coming together. I wouldn't have complained if it was given as a penalty, but I don't think it's crystal clear, but I do understand why people do think it's a penalty. So I'm 50-50 about it. I think you could say it's a penalty. So yeah, you could say it's a penalty, but it didn't affect the result of the game anyway, because it was just so shit, bro. It's just so annoying. When I'm not worried about us losing the league, Terry. I'm speaking from a player's perspective. I'll give you an example. Manchester City Centurion season. Forget chasing records. Manchester City Centurion season. We knew probably in March that they're going to win the league. We knew it. But they didn't stop playing just because we know that City are going to win the league. That's the problem that I have. The way that we put up in the first half is unacceptable. You cannot play like this. You can't.
I hear where you're coming from. It's your club. I'm not going to disagree with you thinking and feeling that way. What I feel about those Centurion season, and the forthcoming, I feel like they had a really good. They were doing similar to what you're doing now. Barely any defeats, barely any draws, and I think it became a thing that they were chasing. Does that make? I think the manager, the player, the thing, and then I think we went through a 3 or 4 season period where fans, the media, the pundits, and more so clubs became obsessed about points totals. And maybe it's because I grew up when nobody did it. No one really cared. Does that make, I'll be honest with you boys, and the older fans may agree, they might disagree. Up until that Centurion season, I just never remembered anybody care. The only time you cared about points was how many points off top were we. No one actually cared whether you won the league with 75, 85, 95 per se. But I understand it's become a massive trend right now and everything else. I just think from a Liverpool perspective, I think they know they've won the league. I don't think you're chasing any records, but I respect how you feel. I do. I really do get it. I really do understand it. Andrew, because I'd love to get your take if you're watching it as well as Sam, but Chelsea today, sluggish first half. Did you agree with Maresca's decision to keep some of your better players on the bench and sort of rest them ahead of the Conference League night? It feels like that's what he did.
No, I told KJ this when he sent me the link. I told him that I really want to come on because of the fact that it is frustrating as soon as you see a team sheet and you're like, okay, we know Palmer's fit again. We know Jackson is back. So if you want to rest them, win the game in the first half, take the lead, and then take them off because they're more effective like that. If I think about it, Palmer, apart from City, where he used to come off the bench and he scored one or two crucial goals for them, where he sort of won games for them. I think for England, he did the same thing. But if I look at it from Chelsea, there have been, unless the beginning of his career, there have been no games where he's come on, even in the Conference League, where he's come on when the game's already in a certain flow and certain way. They're playing very defensively, holding the ball, not really attacking. He doesn't come and make any change there. He plays how they are playing. He gets influenced a lot by how they're playing. He's not changing the game, which for me is a problem. So if Palmer's fit, you start him. And if you say, okay, you want to rest him, take him off in the second half, like 50th minute, 55th minute, you take him off. It's really fine for me. Jadon Sancho, why? So if you're deciding to change the team, you're saying, okay, I want to rest these guys because it's a quick turnover. Then why are you playing Jadon Sancho there? Why are you playing Sanchez? Sanchez would have lost the game for us. Yes, he made about 2 saves, which your standard goalkeeper needs to do, but he could have lost the game. I don't know if you'll watch the game where he's looking at the ball, and Mbeumo was next to him. He caught it and he left it through his hands. It pitched. If Mbeumo was a little bit more alert, he would score from there.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing? He really is, already we are frustrated with the team sheet and we're like, okay, if he had to change anybody, it should have been him. But then he frustrates you in every action. I was worried about this game because the reverse fixture, when we played back home, we won 2-1. But if you remember that game, towards the end, Brentford were putting pressure on us. We could have easily drawn that game. We could have easily drawn because they were actually attacking in the end. And Brentford could have won this. Towards the end, they could have won this. Because if they had scored late, I think it was about the 83rd, 84th minute, if they had scored, we wouldn't have had the thing to come back. Palmer had the last kick of the ball, where if it was Palmer of the beginning of the season, probably he would have put it in the top corner. But yeah, he's not in his form and he was leaning back a little bit. So frustrated on all those fronts. But I'm still happy with, it was a clean sheet. So for that reason, I'm happy that we have some clean sheets we're starting to build. Performance-wise, I agree with Husam in what he's saying, that irrespective of, where you are, if you're if you're going to win the title, if you're confirmed that you're going to be in the top 4, top 5, because we know that top 5 will bring us Champions League, there are certain games against certain teams you're expected to win because of who you are. That is football heritage. Because of who you are, you're supposed to win. Irrespective of what the results are going to be and what it's going to bring you, you have to win. If Spurs had to lose to Southampton today, it would have been such a a big talking point because of the fact that they're under pressure. They're anyway going to get relegated. They're under pressure. So everybody knew, even if Spurs is a shit team right now, they are supposed to win that game. So that's why I think Liverpool was supposed to win against Fulham, and Chelsea was supposed to win today. And now,
I think for yourselves,
I'm afraid of the next game. I'm afraid because we're playing Fulham next.
Look, I'll be honest with you, and this is, listen, I get that some Chelsea fans, I don't know what Husam thinks of this. I think I get this back in your team, and publicly they don't want to say anything negative, but it's another game. You think about their wins. They beat Spurs, but they always beat Spurs in the league. Beat Leicester recently, beat Southampton recently, which everybody's doing, including teams that are shit this year, like Spurs and Man United. The win before that came against West Ham. It was 2-1. Again, West Ham are having an awful season. The win before that was against Wolves, a relegation side. The last win against a team that you look at and go, is a decent side. Do you know who it was in the Prem?
Oh,
No, tell
It
me
was
who.
when they beat Brentford on the 15th of December.
So it was
All
the
their
reverse
all their
fixture.
wins since then have been against relegation teams or Spurs, and that's why I don't understand. I'm not expecting Chelsea fans to panic and go crazy, but you've got Ipswich next. Again, you should be winning that. That's who your next game is. But then it's
Ipswich
Fulham.
beat us. Terry, Ipswich beat us in the reverse.
No, they've
fixture.
already they have beaten you, but they're relegation side. But you're at home against them. But then you've got Fulham, then you've got Everton, then you've got Liverpool, then you've got Newcastle, then you've got United, then you've got Forest. If you look at since the middle of December, the run rate against teams of Fulham's level, Everton's level, Liverpool's, Newcastle, United, and Forest, you haven't won a game. And the thing is that for me is the concerning element. And again, today you had control the ball, you had opportunities, you just can't finish your dinner. And then I feel like there was a little run towards the last 10 minutes of the game. Brentford really should have scored. They missed some really big chances, and that would have been a defeat. Look, top 4 is doable for Chelsea, but I don't know about you, Husam. It just every game that goes by, it just feels like it's slipping away slowly but surely for them.
yes, I don't think Chelsea are going to make top 5. I've been public about this. I think they have a difficult run in as well, so they're going to have to be really worried. That's why I understand where Andrew's coming from of winning today's game and stuff, because you have a more difficult run in than a Newcastle, and Forest is a bit more established now up there as well. I know they lost to Aston Villa, but like Forest, you'd expect them to get it over the line because they've been way too good, way too consistent defensively to not get it over the line. And then you've got, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, and getting top 4. Do I trust him? Yes, just because it's Pep. So I think Chelsea need to start winning these games that they're expected to win. You can't just keep dropping points. I get people say top 4 race is about inconsistency and blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but at some point in time, you're going to have to put the points on the table. Because Chelsea, that December result that you're talking about, there's a point in time where we were even talking about straight facts about Chelsea being in a title race. They were 2 points behind Liverpool. And now, I don't even know how many points behind Liverpool they are. Let me just check it quickly. Chelsea are currently
they must be
4th on 53.
20 points.
That's an 18-point difference. That shows you how horrible they've been over this last 3-4 months.
The swing has been crazy, and this is where it's really interesting. Obviously, Fulham won today and closed the gap to 5, but I think they're too far off. Newcastle was 7th, but have 2 games in hand. If they're able to win those, one of them is on Monday. And then their next game, Newcastle, is at home to Man United. They are going to beat us. Like, let's just have that right. They play less. I think they play Leicester Monday night. I want to say it's Leicester. I could be completely wrong. I want to say they're playing Leicester. Let me just go to the fixtures.
Yeah, but Terry, as a Chelsea fan, I'm not worried about Newcastle, to be honest with you. I'm not worried about Newcastle or Ipswich.
Why?
I know that they beat us. No, because I just know that I'm just confident that my team will be able to play that game. I'm not saying that Newcastle is a bad team. I'm just saying that I'm more confident that they can play that game and they will get a result out of it.
Yeah, okay. Forget you playing them for a minute. Their next 2 games are Leicester and Man United. The point I'm actually making here is that City are the favourites to win today. They'll go above you if they do, as an example. Newcastle's next 2 games are massively winnable for them. That puts them above you. And it's when you're sitting 4th, it looks okay. You've got some really tough games coming up, and you've just got to get those performance levels up. I think it's 2 goals. I think maybe in your last 4 games is what you've scored. Cut the clean sheets, which is good against Spurs and against Brentford today. But the levels have got to go up, because I just think the form of Forest, Villa, City, Newcastle, those 4 teams, their form in the last 2 months, which have been so much better than Chelsea's, if that makes sense. You've got to get your form up.
Yeah, I agree with you. The thing is now what I'm like actually worried. So I think that United we can beat United for sure. We can beat.
They're your bogey team.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, because of what's happened in the recent past, I know that we are able to do that. We're able to beat United. But in terms of like teams like you say, so Ipswich is a difficult. We don't know, but we're Chelsea. We should beat Ipswich. My concern is that I still think that we can make the top 5. I still think that even if it's a bad result, because Liverpool is going to be a tough team to beat, irrespective of
you can make it. You can make it, right? But just very quickly, because the other game's about to start. If we just go to the last, say 3 months, I think 3 months is generally quite a good period of time when it comes to football. If we go to the last 3 months of football that's been played, and if we go to the last 3 months of football as an example, why has it put the bottom team top? I must have clicked on the wrong button here. Points. like Chelsea in that time have accumulated 17 points, but Man City, in fairness, have accumulated 17. Forest are on 18. It's Villa are above that. Newcastle's is a little bit. Where's Newcastle on this list? Why is it so? Okay, Newcastle in the last 2 months, so they're sitting on 16 points. They're just behind you, but they've got the 2 games in hand because of the cup,
games in hand,
as an example. Yeah. So it is close. The point I'm making is, I've been saying for a few weeks now, the form and the trajectory of those other 4 is just going up, and their performances are catching up. And I know people keep saying results are all that matter, but I think over a 7-8 game period, what is going to get you those results is improving your form, and that's still lacking.
And what I want to see, Terry, as a fan, what I want to see is this style of play needs to evolve. I'm not saying, okay, he's figured out a style of play he wants. He keeps saying every pre-match, every post-match, he says, we want to have possession, we want to have control. Even Brentford's coach said, we know that they're going to want to have control. We will hit them on the counter. Like, everybody knows this. He's going on saying this. It's so frustrating to watch. And if you heard today in the game, the away fans were like, attack. They're singing attack, attack.
I heard it. A DJ here says, Terry, you are great, bro. Gaslight United fans when you've been beaten. When you've beaten no one, but Chelsea draw versus Brentford still fourth, and you're trying to trigger. No one's trying to trigger. We're having an honest conversation, and I've already said Chelsea can make it. I know you need results, but the only way you're going to get the results to make it is if your form improves. And if it improves, I'll say, there you go. If your form doesn't improve, if your form for the last 2 months, including some decent games, stays the same, you are not making it due to the trajectory of 3 or 4 other teams around you that are playing better.
I'll start my watch along time.
Yes, I'm going to go watch the game. This is going to redirect you to Husam's watch along, people. So make sure you're supporting him over there. We're live after the Manchester derby. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.